Now, Rand Water is appealing to municipalities who owe it money to honor payment agreements. The plea comes after AfriForum lost its bid to interdict the utility from reducing supply of several non-paying municipalities, which collectively owe 3 billion rand. Now, for more on this, I'm joined by Petrus, advisor for local government affairs at AfriForum. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on News at Prime. Now, Petrus, you as AfriForum lost your legal application against Rand Water this week. Just take us back to why you lodged this application and what your next move will be.
Yes, that is correct. So, a couple of weeks ago, some of our members and our branch structures brought it under our attention that there were areas that didn't have any water whatsoever. So where this throttling takes place, especially the higher lying areas, they don't have any water whatsoever. The taps are dry completely, and we were having some farmers, giving water through boreholes in these emergency situations. So yes, that's why we launched the application, is to give these people the water that they require. We understand the debt that the municipalities have with Rand Water, and that Rand Water needs the money, but the people also, require the basic water services. So our steps from here will be to monitor the water situation and whether everybody indeed has access to water. And we got permission from the High Court that if Rand Water was to default back to throttling, then we can approach the court on the same application by supplementing our papers.
And Petrus, I want to go back to that 2021 case when you did approach the High Court and you won in that application. What do you think the difference was between that case and now?
I think the main difference was that Rand Water at the beginning of March, they stopped the throttling. So the two municipalities which they throttled at that stage was Merafong and Ngwate. So they stopped the throttling. So the difference was between this case and that one was that in the past they were still busy with the throttling. So at this stage they stopped, and that's why the court ordered that they cannot give an interdict to prevent something in the future, because the reason we went on with the interdict was that there was still a threat in other places where these municipalities owe Rand Water money.
Now, this is a bit of a catch-22. As you mentioned, there are some residents who in the high-lying areas, especially who are paying for the water bills but are not getting the service at all. Now, you want Rand Water, as you've said repeatedly, to stop the throttling or reducing of water supply by these defaulting municipalities. But don't you think that would set a bad precedent for people to not pay for services?
Yes, we understand the concern. We're not saying at all that people should not pay their monthly bills. And you can see in most cases people do pay the bills. The problem is that the municipalities are not paying Rand Water. So we understand that there is the risk that it sets a precedent. But that's why we think in the long term, the better solution will be to actually privatize the management of the distribution network, and also the recollection or the collection of the revenue of the money. In that case, that the revenue is being sourced and distributed to Rand Water. And also the second problem, which is wastage of water and the lack of the infrastructure management. You also address that problem.
You mentioned privatization as well. Rand Water says it has been in talks and it's negotiating with these defaulting municipalities, and some agreements are being made with a lot of them. Would you as AfriForum rather not encourage that process in ensuring that these municipalities, first of all, get into these negotiations with Rand Water and make sure that they pay what their residents have been paying them as well?
Yes, definitely, I agree. The problem with that is that in many cases the municipalities still struggle to honor these agreements due to lack of funding or financial management. So we do encourage the municipalities to pay the money to Rand Water. We are just seeing as well that municipalities are struggling to honor these agreements or to actually get the payments done on time. So that's the main problem as well. So, that's why.
Yeah, it is a very difficult situation as well because, you know, we also had Rand Water's spokesperson on this channel on Newzroom Afrika earlier this week, Meganosi Maru, who was saying that Rand Water acknowledges that there are customers who are paying in those municipalities, and they're hoping that in this way, those customers force their municipalities to pay the bills. Is that not an option that you should be also encouraging the residents to do? And if so, how will these residents force the municipality to pay the bills?
Yes, that's a very difficult thing for residents to force the municipality to pay the bill. So, yeah, we definitely encourage everybody, all communities to pay their bills. That's definitely the way to go. You cannot run a big organization like Rand Water without getting your income. So it's not sustainable at all. We definitely agree with that. It's difficult for people by paying to encourage the municipality to pay as well. Obviously, communities are part of government. So obviously local government, it's established, or it's the parts of the governance, and then you get the administration, and you also have communities. So communities also have a voice in the municipality. So we definitely encourage everyone to participate in local governance and to encourage the municipalities through public participation, through the IDP process perhaps, to do sound financial governance.
And Petrus, you know, Rand Water also says it's quite ironic that you as AfriForum are the ones who are taking them to court and not the councils who are owing them. They're saying that because the councils understand that they must pay this money. What do you make of that comment that, you know, you shouldn't even be butting your nose into this business in the courts?
Yes, yeah, we understand that. But last year as well, we know Governor Mbeki local municipality actually brought an application. So it's not in all instances that the municipalities feel the same. The Governor Mbeki local municipality brought an application to set aside the decision by Rand Water, which was exactly the same as this instance, and they were successful. So we understand where Rand Water is coming from. It's a situation between themselves and the municipalities. But we, as a civil rights organization with more than 300,000 members across the country, is making voluntary donations. It's our obligation to protect their rights and to make sure that they have access to water.
You made mention earlier that, you know, some people don't have water at all. Rand Water says they've paused these restrictions for now. What is the situation actually looking like for residents on the ground from the members that you've spoken to?
Yeah, we have had positive feedback, especially from the places that were throttled initially, which is Merafong. That was mainly Carletonville and Vogel. And then Guate, the only town there that gets water from Rand Water is Heilbron. So we know all three of those towns, the situation is much better. They do have access to water. The problem that we have is in other areas like Governor Mbeki, there's other contributing factors like infrastructure management on the part of the municipality. So in the places where Rand Water, where we had the issues with the throttling, it's looking much better. But there are obviously some other issues besides the Rand Water throttling issue.
Yeah, Petrus, you know, water is a basic human right, and so we do understand the frustration of those who don't have access to it right now and yet are paying for their bills. Thank you so much for joining us this evening and sharing your insights and time with us.